Well, hello to everyone. I'm Jay, and of course, this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And I hope everyone is doing great. And today we're having gorgeous weather. After all of that bad weather, I told you, things will change. And I thought, you know what? I need to get this tutorial up for my friends. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and get this tutorial. I'm going to break it down and share it with you. This tutorial, I guess I'm going to dedicate it. You know, if you saw the end of the last video, I lost my dear friend Judy. And she loved red. She had the cutest little red shoes, and she had small feet. And she had these little red shoes, and she had a over-the-shoulder bag, and it was so cute. But one of her favorite colors was red. So this is going to be Jay's crocheted friendship vest. And so let me just walk you through it a little bit. You saw me, I was wearing it the last video, so you can check that out. And as you can see, we have, I added something different. I added a little more to it too. It's crocheted, of course. It's crocheted in one piece. And I have used, you know, that yarn to give it an accent. I put on some nice buttons because it has a beautiful laced edge, which is an automatic. It makes its own buttonholes. So, and of course we'll start in the back with the beautiful back square. So now let me take it off, get everything set up, and let's enjoy the day together, because it is a beautiful day after all the rough weather we've had. The sun even came out a little bit. It's gone in now, but that's okay. So, from me to you, Jay's crocheted friendship vest for my friends at the YouTube. Okay, well, you know, I have to test knit or test crochet my own projects. You know, I don't have, you know, I'm not a big name knitter or crocheter, so I have to do all the work myself. Judy would used to like to do some things, and but she was left-handed, so sometimes, you know, we couldn't work on the same piece. So, but here it is. Here's the vest, Jay's crocheted friendship vest in another color. The color we're going to be, you know, what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And this particular color, it's Banana. And as you can see, I've added a little more detail. I had some beautiful buttons. I have a lot of these old inexpensive buttons. I got it Tuesday morning when they have them by the bags, or any place I can get them where there's, you get them in the big bag. They're just, you know, cheapos, but they're great for, they're not heavy, so they're great for your knitted or crocheted items. They don't pull your fabric. But anyway, well, when I was in the other video, I was wearing it, and I hadn't decided, and I realized, you know, the little collar could use 2 buttons too. And I thought, well, what a great idea. So I had to look around in my stash and find 2 extra little buttons to kind of go with the buttons I already had. And you can see this one, and then here's this pretty scalloped. Hope that's showing up. And see it, you can just simply use the lace pattern that's already there. See? Put your button right in there. Here's one down here. See it? And makes a beautiful buttonhole. And I found this gorgeous, that yarn. And I found a pretty color to match. And I'm going to tell you all the colors. I'm going to tell you everything. But it has gold. I hope you can see that. Dark blue. It's almost black, but it's dark blue. And it has a color that complements this color. And I'll tell you all about the Banana yarn that we're going to use. But I wanted you to see. Now, you know this is done. It's part of the square sweater theme. So let me just flip it over onto the back. And hope it shows up. Okay, now you see the back is one pattern, like we did on the Autumn Love Knot vest. And then we will pick up another square for one for the left front and another square for the right front. And then there is your arm space. Now how simple is that? And it's very nice and warm, and you can wear it over a beautiful shell or beautiful sweater. And like I said, I love the other buttons. So let me show you what you're going to need. I'll go through the colors, I'll go through where I got the pattern, and we'll take it step by step. All right, let's go with our supplies for Jay's Crochet Friendship Vest. And the one I had in mind for Judy, I used Vanna's Choice by Lion Brand, and this particular color is called Cranberry, because I was hoping her birthday was in February, and of course I wanted to get it done and have it in red because, like I said, that was one of her favorite colors. And of course that didn't work out, but this is the color of the red one in case you do want to do it in red. And Vanna calls for a J hook. And you know, I kind of like this Boyd J hook with the nice balance handle. So far I've been using it. Normally I use the Clover Soft Touch. But I wanted to give it a try, and it's been working out great. Joanne just doesn't keep enough. They've been out for a long while. I guess people like them and bought them up. So when they get some more in, I'll get some more sizes. But this is a J, a 6 millimeter, and of course, Red Heart Boutique Sachet, Red Heart Sachet. And I found this gorgeous color. I'm gonna take the band off for a second. I found this gorgeous color that has reds and golds and a little lavender, and it is called Boho, and it is just like a beautiful match to the cranberry. It has enough cranberry in this particular yarn, and it matches the Vanna great. So if you still like to do the red, those are the two that I use for that particular vest. Now to the one that I made for myself. Of course, it's also Vanna's Choice. And the name of this color is Dusty Blue. It is Dusty Blue. And I'm also using, of course, the J hook. And the nice Red Heart sachet I found was the boho again, because it has, let me take this, slide the band off so you can see the color. Okay, isn't this pretty? Look at this. It has a little of the dusty blue color, close enough to the yarn. You don't want it to be exact anyway. It has some darker blue. I think that's even black. Yes, I believe there's black in there so dark. I believe there's a darker blue, there's black, and of course they have the gold. Isn't that pretty when you see it all together? And that's what I use for the accent on my vest. Okay, so far we've got that down. We have the two yarns. Of course, now you can use any color that you go over and find you a color. You can find it at any of the large big box stores. But as soon as you pick out a color, walk around the aisle or a couple of aisles or wherever it's located and go ahead and find you something. It doesn't have to be this brand. It can be the other one, Starbella. It can be anything that you might like to make your accent on your vest. But I would go ahead and pick it out. Now, I hardly ever say how many skeins I get because, everybody's different. But I always buy my skeins in lots of 4. I always buy at least 4 skeins. And it really doesn't take, it takes about maybe 3. You might go over a little bit. So go ahead and be sure to buy enough. Like I said, it only takes me 4 skeins of Vanna. And I only need 1 of the sachets. And you have a lot of this left over. So, how are we doing? Is that good? Does that sound good? Okay, now the pattern. All right. Here we go. My two friends, Jean Leinheiser and Rita Weiss. This is the Big Book of Crocheted Stitches. This is the one I've used before. And when you see these books, I mean, you just really need to get them. They're written great. I love them. They have great pictures. I love when they're thick like this too. So you can't go wrong. You know, it says 350 plus stitches. I didn't count them, but I'll take the word for it. Okay, now we're going to use two different designs. The first pattern that we're going to use for the back is where we're going to start. You know, we're going to do a square in the back. It's called linked crowns. Now the picture may not be, it won't be as good as of course I'm going to do it in a sample and you'll really be able to see it. But I just wanted you to see where I got the pattern, because like I said, they make stitch books so that you'll take the stitch and design or make or create your own project, you know. And of course you can take it right out of, you know, read it just like but I'm going to change it a little bit to suit my project. And of course this pattern is a universal pattern. You can find it in other stitch books. But I just like the way they wrote it up, and I like to give credit where credit is due. You know, I just like to show you where I got it from. Now this one's really good because there's only 3 rows and there's only a 2-row repeat. Once we do the setup row 1 of the linked crowns, it's a chain, a multiple of 12. Then all we have to do is repeat row 2, row 3, row 2, row 3. How cute is that? And then when we get ready to go to the front, we will use the offset shell pattern. It's chain a multiple of 7 plus 3. And of course we have a setup row 1, and then this pattern also is so simple. We have row 2. We have to, that's really like a setup 2. The only repeat on this pattern is row 3. So once we get past row 1 and then we do row 2, then all we have to do is do row 3 and keep repeating row 3. And it's called the offset shell. Isn't that great? So, beautiful book, beautiful stitches. And I guess we just need to, oh, I want to show you my buttons too. Just so I can go ahead. Now these are, I suggest you go ahead and find you some pretty buttons. Like I said, I just got these little inexpensive cheapo buttons. You can get whatever you want. And then I decided to add, for the collar, for the little layback front tabs, to add something similar but smaller that will go on each side, just like that. So you need at least 3 buttons, I suggest. And then 2 smaller buttons with the same theme or close to it, or to match, as long as they match. They're just for, it's just for looks. So, let's see. I've covered the pattern. I've got everything ready. Of course, you know you'll do a black and white so that you'll have it to make all your notes on. The black and white, if you have this book, and I suggest you. It's a great book, people. All the books I use, I'm telling you, I love the books. I love stitch books. Nothing wrong with magazines. I buy magazines, and we'll look at some of those on down the road. But if I had if I have the money, magazine, stitch book, magazine, stitch book. Well, I might get one thing out of the magazine, and it may not fit, but the stitch book, oh yeah. And then I've made the black and white on both sides. Okay, so I can work out of it. All right, let me get set up and we'll get started on Jay's Crochet Friendship Vest. Just for you to enjoy. See you back. Well, let's get started. The first thing, you kind of know the drill by now. The first thing I need you to do is to make a long chain. This is one that we don't have to count again. And so I usually just use your waist measurement just to get you to chain, you know, to make your chain long enough. Because we're going to go through and make loops. And then you can fit the loops up to your body. I'm going to give a suggested number, but you can also just fit the loops up to your body. So we start with a long chain and our J hook. All right. This is row 1. I'm going to start really emphasizing and taking my time as we do more crochet projects. This is row 1. Okay, this is like your setup row. I've made a long chain, and the instruction says I simply need to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So just do a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. Just like that. You know, and I'm making these chains nice and loose. Try to keep it loose as we go. Now, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to only skip 3 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Skip 3 chains and then single crochet into the next chain. Skip 3, single crochet. I think I got my yarn on the wrong side. Okay. Now, repeat. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 3 on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, single crochet. Just like that. Alright, let's continue. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 3. 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the next chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 3. 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the next chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Single crochet. 1, 2, 3 in the next chain. Skip 3 and then single crochet. And then 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 1, 2, 3 in the next chain. Do a single crochet. Okay, now can you see what we're doing? We're making our foundation loops. You see these loops that I'm making here? Kind of familiar to the other one, but it's different. Okay, now let's talk about size as we start to make this foundation chain of loops. Okay, and I tried to do a little math just to kind of help you to kind of figure out. But if you made your chain long enough so that you don't have to stop and do it and pull it out and do it again, okay, you can simply take these loops, just do a few, and then put it from your right side to your left side like we always measure. You can just stretch it out and see. But I'm going to give you some suggested, because this pattern is a multiple of 12 chains. Okay? So, for instance, if you're a small size, if you're just a regular small size, I suggest 13 loops. So you would have a chain long enough to make at least 13 of these loops. You see that? Okay. Then if you're large, I'm like large, and so I did 16 loops for my size. I just kept chain 5, single crochet, chain 5 until I had 16 of these loops. And if you're taller, you know, just a larger person or taller, and I suggest 19 of these loops. 19 loops for large, extra large, 16 for extra large, 16 for large, which is what I'm using, 16 loops. And what that does, when we get ready to actually do the pattern, if you do 13 loops, you're going to get 5 crowns. 5 of these crowns when we make the pattern, not loops. These are loops. All I need you to decide to see if 13 loops will go from your left side to your right side of your body at your waist, or would you be more comfortable, or would it feel better and fit better if 16 loops would go around? Like I said, if you're much taller or larger, then go to 19 loops. How about that? So that's where we are. So I need you to get down to either 13, 16, or 19 loops, and I will see you back at the end. Okay, I'm getting down to 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the next one. I'm going to do 10 loops for this practice. So let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 loops for my practice. You're going to have 13, 16, or 19. Okay, now, when you get to the end, then I need you to just chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 on the bottom, and do a double crochet in the next chain. So, simply double crochet to end this row 1, where you're just putting the foundation loops, the number you have picked out or you feel that will fit you the best. This is just the back square, so it doesn't have to go all the way around. It just needs to fit comfortably from your left side to your right side. Okay, now row 2. Row 2 is the right side. I looked at one of my videos back. I think I did it wrong before. You know, I called the wrong side, but we're going to mark everything from now on. So, okay, but the next row is row 2, and it is the right side. So after I do the double crochet, I simply want you to chain 1, turn the work, and go right back into that same stitch and do a single crochet, just like that. And that's how row 2 will always start. All right, now, you see this next large space here, this large loop right there. We're going to fill this loop up with double crochets. We're going to do 7 double crochets in this loop. So let's go. So, it's 1, 2, 3. That's 4, 5, 6, and 7. And on this first row, I make sure I count to make sure I did get the right number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you will have 7 double crochets in the loop. Okay? All right. Now, in the next large loop right here, you're just simply going to do a single crochet. Just reach right over and do a single crochet. All right. How's that look? Now we have another large loop right here. But to get there, I need you to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I simply go and single crochet in this loop, and then you'll see that we're starting to get like a lattice or lace look right there. Okay, now the next large loop, I need 7 more double crochets. So as soon as you do the single crochet, go right in and start 7 double crochets. So let's go. 1, 2, let's see, 3, that's 4, 5, oops, 6, and 7. Now my first row, just to make sure I'm not off, oops, I stop and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now the repeat starts. In the next loop, you simply do a single crochet, just like that. Then chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next loop, I need another single crochet. But the next loop, we're going to do our 7 double crochets. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now I'm going to do my counting, make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, we will continue as we get close to the end. So, right after this, after the 7, we do a single crochet in the next loop. Just a single crochet. Then you need to do the chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to get over to this loop. And I will do a single crochet. Okay, and then the next and the last loop, I want you to put 7 double crochets. So let's go. Six, and I believe this is 7. So, but I'm going to count to make sure because we definitely want the first row right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 double crochets in the last loop. Does that make sense? Okay. Now at the end of row 2, which we're at the end of row 2, this is where I'm changing her pattern some because I start trying to work a pattern and it got to be really, I don't know, it was just, it was hard to understand. So I just simply made it easier to not only understand but to share. So there's a single crochet right here, right there where my thumb is pointing to. You're going to simply do a double crochet. She did a triple and it made a large space and it just didn't work for me. So I'm doing a double crochet there. You see that? That's at the very end. 1 double crochet in that last single crochet right there. Now, simply chain 1. Here we go. Turn the work. And as soon as you turn the work, go right back into that same stitch and do a single crochet. That's on every row, right? Just like that. All right. Now, we are starting row 3. Row 3 is the wrong side, but we'll mark it later. We're going to come back. I'm going to get enough on here so that you can see it. So, the first thing I want to do, and this is where I changed her pattern again, she had a chain 5 here, where chain 5 was way too much for me to handle, and it just didn't look right for my project. So we're simply going to chain 2, 1, 2, see that? Now, skip 1, the first double crochet right there. Can you see it? Skip that one and go to the next one and do a single crochet. Now chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. See that? Now skip 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and in the next double crochet, do a single crochet just like that. Now we're going to get back into pattern. And now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, you see this space? I'm going to lay it down. Maybe you can see it. I'm not holding. But it makes a V. See that? See that nice space right there? Okay? You're going to do a single crochet in that space. And chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You'll skip the first double crochet. And you'll go into the second one and do a single crochet. And that's right, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 3. 1, 2, 3. Single crochet in the next one. In the next double crochet. And chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, here we go. Now we need to single crochet in this large V, that space there. So single crochet and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip the first double crochet because I had 7. I'm going to skip the first one. Go into the second one, do a single crochet, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and single crochet in the next double crochet. Single crochet. So see, now you're making those loops that we started with. See how easy this is? Now chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, large space again, single crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, we're back up to our 7. So skip the first one, single crochet in the second double crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, skip the first, the next 3, 1, 2, 3, okay, and single, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the next double crochet. You see that? All right, now to get to the end, we're going to chain 2. They're the same on each end. I put a chain 2 over here. She had a triple or something else, but it didn't work for me. So we're going to end with a chain 2, okay? And then you're going to double crochet right in that last single crochet right there. Just do a double crochet. And this was working much better for me. We have just finished the back side, row 3. Now all we have to do is repeat row 2 and row 3. So let's do row 2 once again. And it starts and ends the same way. Chain 1, turn the work. We're on row 2, the front side. We will mark the back, but let's get a little further. Now, as soon as you turn the work, go right into that same stitch and do a single crochet. See it? Now, what do we do in this big loop? We're going to stack these. These are the crowns, what we're doing now. We're going to make a crown, and that's just 7 double crochets in that loop. Let's go. 2, 4. That's 5. That's 6 and 7. I'm going to count just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, you will continue making crowns across. My ring got stuck there, okay? So once you do the crown, you simply have to single crochet in the next space. Just single crochet. Then you do your chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go to the next large space, single crochet, and then immediately put 7 double crochets into this large loop. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6. And it should be 7, but I'm going to count it to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. And right immediately single crochet into the next loop. And that is all there is. And the reason I did the math to come out with how many loops you need, I need for you to have a crown on each edge. And that's why I wanted a certain number of loops. So 13, 16, or 19, or if you need to go even larger, you can add 3 more loops onto 19. But this is what you'll have. And all you're going to be doing is repeating row 2 and row 3. What do you think of that so far? Nice and simple. I changed the pattern so that we had a nicer, neater edge. You know, that's what you need to do. Just change it to kind of help you. So we're going to continue. Now, I've got a piece that I worked up a little farther, so I'll come back. But on the original, I repeated my crowns. Now you can really see the crowns. Can you see them? And I need for you to have a crown on each edge, so that's why, like I said, I have the numbers. But I did 18 crowns on my original. You can try 18 and hold it up to the front of your body, you know, just see how it looks. If that'll go from your shoulders to your waist. That's all we need to have, from your shoulders to your waist. It took me 18 of these repeats. And we need to stop, of course, on a crown row, which is row 2, the front side. Now, I'll go ahead and tell you now so we can get this out of the way. Take a nice, I messed up the other time, but just make sure you take a nice bright yarn. This is something that you need to really mark. Well, I don't have my needle on me. Okay, because this, if it's marked, it's going to be a lot easier, because the back side will be row 3 and the front side is row 2, and it's a lot easier just to see this thread and not have to figure out. So you just take a nice yarn needle and some nice bright yarn and just pull it through on the, once you establish, get your pattern going, and just tie it there in place so that you never have to guess which side you're on. And that's what I wanted to try to remember to tell you. So now we just have to repeat our pattern. Like I said, I did 18. Good luck on your crowns. I know you're gonna look pretty. Well, I hope you've got your 18. And 18 is just a good number, like I said, but it depends on your height and, you know, what you like. If you need to go up, just as long as you added both rows so that you end on row with the little scallops, with the crowns. That's the row you need to end on. So that's on the right side. Here's the wrong side because we marked it with bright yarn. And so now we're on the right side, and I'm right-handed, so that means I'm going to start over here on the left side. If you're left-handed, you would start at the very bottom of this side of the right side. But let me walk you through it. If you did not do the love knot vest, this is exactly the same steps that we did in that vest. So you're going to need some markers. And what we're going to do is simply add, this is our, of course it's not a perfect square, but this is our back square for the back. Of course, this is my sample. Now I'm going to add a square on this side, and then eventually we'll pick up stitches and add a square on this side, which will represent the left front and the right front. See? And then, of course, you'll sew. This is the neck. This is the top and the neck, and of course, these two, they'll be sewn together. So, how do we get there? All right, first of all, on the original, I used, like I said, I used 18 crowns. I had 18. I'll kind of move this over here right quick. And I simply measured down about at least 9 to 10 inches. You'll have to see what your arm, you know, once I show you how to do this, you can stick your arm in there and see if it's a little too tight, if you need to go a little longer. So it was right at the top of maybe 10 of these crowns. So let me show you how it looks. All right, so we've just finished up. And we've got to the last row here, and I'm double crochet in that last stitch there. Now I am going to chain. Now first of all, the pattern that we're going to do for the front, of course I showed you, it is different than this pattern. The pattern for each front is called the offset shell, and it is a multiple of 7 chains plus 3. So that means we have to stay in that number so that it can be divisible by 7 in order to work the pattern for the front. We're done with the back. We're just going to add on each side now. So the first thing I want to do is make myself an arm space. So I'm simply going to start chaining, and I know from my previous vest, 35 chains seem to work real good. 35, 34, 35, 36, somewhere in that range for me. So let's just count. We're going to count. We're going to be real loose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, real loose. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Just keep it loose. 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. So now, if I was doing my reel, this is going to be a little long for this little sample, but I wanted to go ahead and show you the number of chains that I did on my vest. Now, you see how that will form the arm space for this vest. Now, you have to pretend on this one because I don't have the same length. I don't have 18. I think I have maybe 12 or so. Anyway. So from the bottom up, well, measure down on your real one, on the one you're working on. You're going to measure down at least 9 to 10 inches. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to count down 7 and just say that's my, and I'm going to mark it right near a large opening. Say right there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You may have 9 or 10. I don't know. But I'm going to just put a mark right here. Put a marker. And then to go ahead, so I don't have to worry about it, go ahead and put a marker on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the 6th one up from the bottom one for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have them all both in the same place. We'll just go ahead and mark it and be done with that. Okay, so now my sides are marked. Now I need to turn the work a little bit so I can work on the side. And like I said, this is going to be really long, so I need to take some of these out so it won't look so silly when I get ready to work on it. Okay, I'll just pull some back. I don't know how many I have, but... Alright, I'll pull some back. But I would, on my original, I have 35, at least 35. Because the pattern is a multiple of 7, and 7 will go into 35. All right, now, where your marker, once you get a number, once you do your chain for your arm space, you're going to come to this nice opening right where your marker. See that? I'd pick a nice large opening, and you're just going to single crochet and connect it to the body, just like that. You're just going to make a single crochet, now it's connected. Now you can go and actually put your arm, go and look in your mirror or whatever, and slide your arm in and see if it's too tight. Don't worry if it's too loose, but too tight, you definitely have to move down just move down one crown or so to give you some more room. If it's too loose, we can always tighten that up, but count your chains, and it needs to be a number divisible by 7, because that's the pattern we're going to do. Okay, once you're connected with a single crochet where your marker, now we have the rest of the chain, rest of this pattern to try to get a number that's divisible by 7. So it's going to be a lot of trial and error. There's no other way to do it. On my original, I was able to get 28, and then you have to add the +3, so I needed 3 more little single crochets. I was able to get 28, and I had to get +3, so I had to find 3 more. So let's just go. So all right, we just go. We'll count. We'll count this first one as 1. I have no idea what this is going to be since this is my practice. But I'm going to put them close together. It's trial and error, but you'll just figure out how to. Here's 2. And you're just working in the side chains, not in the large holes, and not in those large spaces. Try to work on the edge and just make an opening somewhere to get your crochet hook in there. and keep count. So 3, here's 4, here's 5, there's 6, divisible by 7, 7, 8. See, can you just force your way in the 8? And here comes 9. I try to get under 2 strands if I can, but as long as you can get it in there. 10. 11. 12. 12, 13. 13. Here's 14. 15. And I'm going to just stop here and start trying to count it out. 15. Maybe 16. Maybe 17. Maybe 18. I might get in there, okay. 15, I could have 14 and 14, 15, 16, 17. So go back and count again and see, and we're going to go all the way to the bottom. It's kind of hard to talk and count, so I need to recount. And if you need to borrow a few stitches from this very bottom row down here, sometimes I have to do that. All right, see you back in just a minute. I need to be able to count so I can make sure I can show you how to do the pattern. Oops. All right, count must be divisible by 7. Okay, now my original vest, I had 35 in the chain for the arm space. That's what suited me, and that's divisible by 7. Then from the end of where I connected the arm space onto the bottom, I was able to count out 28 single crochets, and I was able to squeeze in 3 extra ones at the bottom. So leave a little room as you're counting, and try to have the last 3 at, as you get close to the bottom. So in total it was 31 at the bottom. So 35 here, 28. Then I had to save enough room to get 3 extra chains, which made the bottom 31 chains. That's on the original. On this practice, I did 28 chains. I think I did 28. This is just practice. But I was only able to get 14 chains, single crochets on the bottom, plus the 3, which will bring my count up to 17 on the bottom. So that's how you figure it out. Look at what the pattern, how many chains, the multiple of the chains that you need to make the pattern. We're using an entirely different pattern than we finished this. Now we're on a new pattern, the offset shell. It calls for 7 chains plus 3. So each number has to be divisible by 7. This number at the bottom, and then hopefully there's enough room, or you have to recount again, so that you can add 3 more extra single crochets. And like I said, sometimes I have to borrow a couple stitches from this bottom to bring it up, but that's okay, as long as you get the number in there. Okay, now before we can go into this, I need to show you what the stitch looks like. So I'm just going to slide this over, and I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully my camera's juiced up enough. Okay, because I want you to see how easy this little stitch is. So here we go. I've just done that long chain. We're just pretending we got to the bottom. Okay, we're down to the bottom, and I just finished counting off, and I have, let's see if I've got a marker so you'll know where well, I just want to show you the stitch, then I'll go back to the other one. Okay, so when I get to the bottom, I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, turn. All right, now I'm going to skip 2 single crochets. So just go down here and skip 1, 2, 2 single crochets. I'm going to skip them, and then I'm going to make a shell in the third one. Okay, and the shell is made by 4 double crochets, chain 2, and then 1 extra double crochet. So let's go. Now I'm doing this nice and large so you can see it. So 4 double crochets in the chain. 1, 2, 3, one more, 4. Okay, now chain 2. Now you go right back in that same chain and do 1 extra one. Okay. Now you're going to skip 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the next single crochet, you're going to make the shell again. And it's 4 double crochets. That's 1. That's 2, 3, and 4. Now chain 2, 1, 2. You're not done till you chain 2 and then 1 more double crochet in that same stitch. Okay, and we're going to repeat. Okay, we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to put the shell, 4 double crochets in 1 chain. 1 more. Now chain 2, 1, 2, and 1 more double crochet in the same chain. This is the pattern that we're getting ready to add to the front, and it really goes fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, single crochet. Oops. Yep. I'm sorry. Double crochet. We're going to make a shell. Let me count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put your shell. We skip 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we skip 5. Shell. 2, 3. Chain 2. And then another double crochet. And this is what the pattern will look like. This is how the pattern looks when you're working. Okay, so let me go back to the sample. We're on the very bottom. This is really this what we just put on all these single crochets is like the first row. So I need to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn the work. Now we're going to work. Okay. All right. There's the first single crochet. There's the second one. Skip 2. 1, 2, and in the shell is in the next single crochet. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 2, 1, 2, 1 more double crochet. That is the complete shell. Let me move my hand so that you can see it. See it? Okay. Now we will go into skip 5 single crochets, and then you'll make a shell in the next one. So let's skip. Let's count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the next one, another shell. I'm going to go all the way up so that you can, oops, let me get me a little yarn here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, now chain 2, 1, 2, and then another double crochet in the same place. Okay, skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I'm in the next double crochet. I didn't roll my yarn into a ball. Okay, that's 3, 4, chain 2, 1, 2, go back in, same space. All right, now we're getting ready to go into the arm space. Like I said, this is a sample, so I have no idea, but I'll see if I can make it work out. I didn't count that careful. All right, and so we finished that shell, so let's count. First of all, you want to turn your chain so that it's facing you. So you're not looking at the back, the bumpy side. You're going to look at the front side of the chain so you can see what is a chain and what, where the chains are. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so in the next chain, we will do 1, 2. My yarn is not cooperating. 3, 4, okay, and chain 2, 1, 2, go right back into that chain and continue. All right, now we're on the front of the chain and we're just going to count. You can count the top strands of yarn if you really can't tell where the holes are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in the next chain we're going to put a shell. It's 1, oops, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 2, double crochet, that same space. All right, we're getting close to the top. My yarn and I are not getting along at all tonight. I didn't roll it into it. You can see what happens when you don't roll it. Oh, don't take it off the skein. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I need to make a shell in the next. I may have to fudge a little bit on my little sample here. I don't know, but I'll get it in there. 1, 2, and then 1 more. Oh, every time I say 1, 2, I want to say buckle my shoe. It just was a natural reaction. Okay, all right, now let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then the next one. So do a, and you're gonna have a couple extra chains, and that's what you need. So don't worry, you're not at the top yet. So let's put the last shell. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then chain 2, and then you're going to go right back into that chain. Okay. All right. That's where we are. Now, when you get to the top, okay, at the top, you're going to have a few chains left, which is fine. And you're going to end with a double crochet. And I wouldn't connect it. We have to connect it, but I'd go beyond this little loose wobbly point there. I'd go up to one of these crochets up near the that has a nicer, snugger finish to it. So you want to do a double crochet. So stick yourself crochet right there. Okay. And chain 3 and turn. I just want to make sure that that was all that we need to do. Yep. Go up to the top, chain 3. Now you're turning, and now you're on, well, this is the front now because we started on the left side. Okay, and all you have to do is go right back into pattern. Now listen, the pattern, you see these large chain 2 spaces? You're just going to repeat the pattern each one of those. So you have to remember not to forget to do that chain 2 and the extra double crochet. So let me do one real quick before my camera runs out. So you've chained 3, you turn, and right in that first space, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2, and 1 more. I hope I wasn't off camera. I was going so far over, I said, oh gosh, I hope I'm not off camera. I have to do it again. Okay, let me come back over. Okay, you're just going to go now. You're going to reach right over to the next chain 2 space right there, and you're going to repeat the shell. That's all we're doing, is repeating the shell until you get to the very bottom, and you will double crochet into the post, chain 3, and turn. Just in case my camera goes out, I want to say that real quick. Okay. All right. So 1, 2, 3. Trying to hurry here. 1, 2. Go back in. Okay, see how it's looking? Now you're just stacking these shells, kind of offsetting one row upon another. So here we go. That's what it's called, the offset shell. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 2, and go right back in. I kept falling asleep sometimes, and then I had to take some rows out, I'll just be honest, because I just fell asleep. Okay, go to the next one. Make sure you're in that chain 2 space. You're going to put a shell there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 2. And 1 more. Let's see if I can make it to the end for the camera. Okay, the next one is this one. You see it? Okay. Okay, there's 4, chain 2, 1 more. All right, 4, now chain 2, 1 more. Oh, look, there's our little arm space, and here we go on the front. Let's see, can I get to the bottom? Yes, I'm 1 more, see right there. So, double crochet 1. Oops. 2. That's 3, and 1 more is 4. Don't forget to chain 2, and 1 more. Oh, I'm going to make it to the bottom. Okay, and you see the last post right there, the last stitch we made. You will do a double crochet in the top of the chain. Do a double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work, and voila! Now you're back. And of course you see the very first space you'll start the repeat is right there. See it? And so you'll put 4 there. 1, 2, oops, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and chain 2, don't forget, and 1 more. Okay. All right, let me stop before my camera runs out. I hope it wasn't too fast. Okay, so now you're just going to continue on, you know, and you can stop, and I stopped and kept trying it on. But now listen, don't tie anything off. Go as far as you want to go, and then just break the yarn if you don't, or get another skein, or cut the yarn, whatever. You know, it's so easy in crocheting, we don't have to worry like in knitting. And pull a big loop. And then now we're going to try to start on the other side. So I want to show a little bit how to do that, just to make sure for people that are left-handed and have to start at the bottom. Now, make sure you write down how many, you know, how many chains you had. It's most important. Otherwise, you'll never be able to, you know, it's just hard to remember all of this. So I made a little schematic and wrote down 35. I made like a little arm space, and then I wrote 28. Plus the 3 extra chains made it 31. And that's a good way to keep up with it. Okay, let me check my camera and I'll be right back. As you can see, I went ahead and got a little more done on this side that we were working on, just so that you can kind of get a good idea before we pull out the original. But as you can see in our little sample, we have our arm space. And if your arm space, it's better to have it too large, because you can always, when you're done, you can always take a couple of stitches to make it a little smaller. But if it's too small, so you're kind of stuck. But as you can see, and make sure you leave the contrasting yarn until you are completely done, so you'll always know, you know, where the inside of this vest is. So as you can see, I've done some on my little sample, and you can see how it will turn back. And as you can see, I left a nice row. See that pretty lace edge right on the front edge? Okay, so now we have to go to this other side. And I thought, well, I'll do a little of that, because normally we just kind of stop, but I wanted to make sure you knew what you were doing. So however you tie your yarn on, however you attach yarn in the way you crochet, you just need to do that. Now on this sample, the pattern calls for a chain of multiple of 7, and then you have to add a plus 3. So on the bottom I was able to get 14 from, like, when you mark the arm space on one side, be sure to go ahead and mark it on the next side, on the opposite side. That way you don't have to stop and try to make sure you got it right. Just always make sure you mark them at the same time. So now I know from the bottom up, to match my other side, I need 14 single crochets plus 3, which will make mine 17. So from the very bottom to the marker, I need 17. And then from the marker up to the top, I need to squeeze in 35, which you just chain 35. Okay, that's how you make sure that they're the same. So here we go. We just, however you want to, however you join, you just do. And I make sure I start at the very, very bottom, way down here. Don't worry about these little extra chains. We'll take those loose. Just ignore them for right now. And I'm just going to go ahead and I make a little slip knot. Tighten it up. Make sure I have the working yarn somewhere here. Here it is. Got my working yarn in place. Pull it through and do 1 stitch just to hold it in place. Now I'm going to start my count, and I need, on this practice, 17 total. 14 plus 3. Okay, so now here I go. I'll go right into the next space, next little place I can get it in, and do a single crochet. And now I'm just going to work my way up. And you can kind of see it's not a lot of room, so I've got to squeeze. I got to kind of jam them up here to be able to get 17 single crochets. And I just squeeze them in there. This is your seam. Nobody's going to be able to know if you made a mistake or any of that stuff. This is just stuff that's not seen. So I'm just, well, I guess it'd been good if I counted, wouldn't it? I'm sitting up here talking. I forgot I was supposed to be counting. Well, I'll get up here to the top and then I'll count. Let's see, can I, oh God. Well, let me see, I better see how many I can squeeze out here. Okay, let's see. When I turn it and look at it, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I'm doing really well. 10. Okay, I'm doing much better than I thought. I probably could have spread some out a little bit, but that's okay. 11, 12, 13, 14. Oops, let me get some yarn. Let's see, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. Let me just see if I got it now. Let me count them. All right, we're going to count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Right at the mark. Oh, yay! Okay, and then for my little practice, I think I just did 28 chains on the original. I did 35, sorry. So now I just chain up 1, and nice and loose. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, so there's my arm space. I think I did 28. Was it 28 or 21? I think it was 21. I need to pull it back. Okay, I pulled it back. Okay, I got two different things going on in my head. Okay, on the sample now, when you get up to the top, I would just go right, skip all of this stuff if it's not really, I don't want it to be loose. Only if you can make a great connection. If not, go right up, and that's kind of loose. I'm going to go right up into the first double crochet at the top to make sure I have a great connection. And just attach with a single crochet. Now, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn the work. And now we start the pattern. Just like that. You make sure you turn the chain over. And you will, let's see, on this one, all right, skip 2, the first 2, 1, 2, a shell in the next chain. So a shell is 4 double crochets, just like the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now chain 2, 1, 2, oops, 1, 2. Me and the yarn again are fighting. Okay, and then in that same space, you add 1 more double crochet, and then you will skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then shell. Sorry. Do a shell in the next stitch. I don't think I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Skip 5 and then make another shell. Four double crochets. Oops. That's 3, 4, chain 2, and 1 more double crochet in that same space, and then continue. And you're going to go all the way down to the bottom, And you at the bottom, you will simply chain 3, turn, and then you will repeat the same. Now, I was saying as you finish up one side, don't tie off anything, because you can try this on and see how it meets in the front. Now, if you like it to meet closer in the front, you can just keep adding more rows. If not, just, you know, leave a nice tail so that you can decide, and then you will make this side come over, and then you'll have the 2 sides. You'll have the 2 fronts. Okay. Now, when you're all done, of course, you know that you're going to sew up on the shoulders. The side seams are done, and you can't even see them. They're so pretty. Okay, then you're going to sew up to, you know, because you'll try it on and get it close to your neck. So let me get the original, because you can see it better, and then we got to do our little fancy yarn. Okay, how's that look? All right, let me get the original. Okay, I think I'll stand up so I can, this is the one that I made for myself. Judy liked the red, and so, you know, this is the Vanna Dusty Blue. And I got some really pretty buttons that I found with a little black in the buttons to match. You see the buttonhole is that nice space, that nice chain too, that that's already in the pattern. And you see the nice edge, the little scalloped edge. Can you see it? Okay. And then this is what I added. When I went back, I looked and I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to make sure you hold your trim and your little collar in place if I added a smaller button that matched, of course, the large ones right there. And see, look, I just button that up. And the same thing on this side, I put the button actually on the vest, and then just pull or roll the collar back and button it up. And the scallops, and of course you can see where I've sewn the shoulder seam. You can't even see it. It's really pretty. Look at that. Now to this part, this little extra. This, on this particular color, remember I went over it was a sachet, and all I see is boho. I guess that's the color. Oh, Renaissance or something. But that's the brand. Now you can use any of this fancy yarn you want. I just take your yarn around and match it up. Doesn't have to be the exact match. You just want something to make it pop. And I just thought that was pretty because it has all the different shades of blue, little teal, black, and of course the gold. See that? Isn't that pretty? Okay, so that's all we have to do, and then we'll weave it in. And since I have it here, I'll just show you how I weave it in before I go into the crochet of it. I would start in the center back, and I'd take a big safety pin and put it on one end, and just weave it, just kind of eyeball it, and you will weave it in. Of course, your buttons won't, you won't have that. See how you just kind of weave it in. Don't get, I'd stay away from the edge. Move, keep it away from the edge a little bit because you have your buttons and things here. But you can see from this, so there's no way to really count and tell you. But you'll try it on, see if your two fronts come together like you want it. Then you will, in the fronts. Now we're going to get ready to crochet this, and then, like I say, you just weave this in. We're going to crochet it, run it through, and then you just use it as, and then of course I put the little buttons on. You can see that again, and then you can just fold that back. Isn't that pretty? It looks pretty on too. Okay, so here we go. Last part. Oh, that yarn. Oh, that yarn. Okay, last time I just used a regular, I don't know, a L or some kind of crochet hook. But then when I was at Joann's, I went ahead and got this large one. I thought, oh, I think and it was only like $1.49 or $1.99, so it's real cheap. It's just a big plastic one. I don't even know if it has a size on here. If it does, I can't see it without my glasses, but you'll know it. Okay, so now I got something to keep all the time to use on this crazy yarn. So you just make a nice little slip knot to start, just like if you were crocheting anything. And nothing different, nothing special. But I would encourage you to make your chains very loose. Just very loose. Nice and big and loose. And what's so good about this, so you can, it needs to be a long chain, but once you get enough done, you can stand up, wrap it around, you know, put it around your neck and see how long. You need it to be long, because you can always take off some at the end. If it's too long, you know, you can always snip it off. And if you notice, I left a tail. I put my slip knot high enough that I left a tail. Okay, now let's just continue. All I'm doing is just crocheting. See? Now some people would just simply do a finger crochet right here. You can easily do that too, because this is just an accent. Once you weave it in, any kind of problem you had won't be seen. So just crochet. I just thought that color was so pretty. See? Ho hum. And look at that. And of course, you can always take it off your when you're not wearing the top. You can just wrap it around your neck and just wear it as an accessory. You know, neck chain. Isn't that nice? Back to the chaining, and you just make a nice long chain. And then, like you say, stop and kind of wrap it around your neck and see if it's long enough for you for it to look nice. Well, what do you think about this? Like I say, I'm calling it Jay's Crochet Friendship Shawl because the red one was done in mine with Judy. She loved red. And those were the last, that was some of the yarn we bought the last time we were together at Joann's. You saw in the previous video, we had given Joann's, the people that work there, they've known us for years, and we just wanted to do a little something special for them. Never knowing that would be the last picture I would take of her, she and we were out front with the store manager, and that's just the way it was. So, but here this is, and now I hope you will give it a try. I hope you like it. It's a really nice crochet. I love the two patterns. Oh, I will say this. Remember I said try to learn something from every pattern. Everything you make or design or someone else's pattern. Well, I learned to be real careful next time. This works out fine, but the front crochet pattern is a nice tight, you know, it's really nice and tight texture, where the back is a little more loose. So it worked fine for me this time, but the next one that I do, you know, I will make sure that if it's a loose texture for the back, I need to find maybe one a little more looser, especially now that it's getting to be spring, you know, spring and then of course summer. So I will not do this really heavy texture, this offset shell. I would find something else. But I learned that to match up the textures for the back and the front. So I think I've covered everything. I think you're going to look pretty in it. I think you're going to enjoy crocheting it. You're going to have fun. It's getting to be in our area finally. Now, you know, we're finally seeing some sunlight, and it's starting to get beautiful outside. So you may want to think of some of those prettier, brighter colors. When I started this, of course, like I say, we still had the cold weather, and you know, a lot of you had snow on the ground. But as we start out towards the spring, we got to start thinking lighter, brighter, and really soft colors. And I think it's about time we started going from our square sweater theme into our rectangle I think you're going to like the rectangles. It's more work. It's a little more intricate. But if you followed this up so far, if you followed me on my different squares from just a front and a back, and then we did the come up the back and over the shoulders, and now we've done back and then come from the back, from the sides to the front. All with just some squares. Well, I just thank you so much for coming and sitting with me, and I hope you pick up your hook. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you have a friend that you would love to do it for. If not, do it for yourself. So, until next time, I'm already busy. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. Telling you, hope you're well. And look pretty. See ya.